I can't believe that it's been 6 years as your district leader. It'll be 6 years since I came before you and asked this club for its endorsement when I first ran for district leader. As many of you remember, because you were there, I ran against an 18-year incumbent. I felt that it was time for new leadership. And felt that I could bring something to the position, and I like to think that I have on a number of issues. Although on my signature issue, which is a lifelong issue of mine, and actually people have said yes, the broken record of Kevin always bringing up redistricting reform, but it will be something that I continue to talk about, and that we have. Specifically in this community, a united district, because we are so divided on the state assembly level. My district covers the 70s of Bay Ridge, but also covers Staten Island. And although I don't represent it on the state committee, the assembly district does. We've heard from two candidates for the one candidate and one representative for the 46th assembly district. That covers down into the 80s and 90s of Bay Ridge, and then it goes all the way to Coney Island. You walk a few blocks from here, the Alpine Movie Theater, you're in the Sunset Park Assembly District, and literally up the block from there, right, the houses around Leif Erikson Park, you're in the Bensonhurst Assembly District. So that was an issue that I took on, and that we talked about, and it's become something that the neighborhood has constantly talked about because of that advocacy. And I have to say, I just looked at history, and from the 1980s, and when we did lose our assembly district, at people like at the Bay Ridge Community Council, where I am a committee chair, the local civic association, and former corresponding secretary. They took that issue on a number of years ago. I just built upon that, and that's what I believe. That's partly what leadership is about: is seeing what's there, seeing what's worked in the past, what issues have been talked about and brought to the forefront, and then taking that mantle and moving it forward, moving the goalposts a little further. So I do have to say it's a positive thing. I'm actually very happy, especially in the 46th Assembly District, that we have a candidate running from Bay Ridge. I'm also very happy that another candidate from the other side of the district has opened up the first Bay Ridge storefront, in this community since Janelle Heyer-Spencer, our assemblywoman in the 64th, lost her re-election in 2010. We haven't had a dedicated Bay Ridge office for the assembly since then. So both candidates really, they have Bay Ridge ground here, and I'm very proud of that. And I think that has to do with the fact that we've talked about uniting the community, and that's been something that I have tried to do over my 6 years there. It's also been an interesting road. It's been personally had some, real downs and ups and downs. Starting with early in my term, losing my dad, who was my heart and soul for politics. He's the one who got me involved when my uncle ran for city council, and so that was a big loss just coming into the leadership. So it was almost like I was put in as leader, and then my number one advisor, friend to this club, was not there. So I've had to think without his advice, due to what's the best thing that I could do moving forward. And I really took on, and I said, even though I challenged the leadership, and I challenged, and every elected official endorsed my opponent in the district and the surrounding areas, I didn't come in and say, well, now I won and I'm not going to work with you people because you didn't support me. I really came in and worked with the organization. Now, I didn't always agree with what the two county leaders who I've served with have done, and when it's time to stand up and when it's time to say I disagree and here's why, I'm not afraid to do so. But I've always had a respectful relationship with them, which is different than some of the other people who decide that they're going to take on county and they view it as, like we're going to be negative, we're going to be as in your face as possible. And I'm just not like that. I have a conversation, I'm honest, I'm truthful, and I say, here's my thinking, here's why I'm thinking. And I think I've built that reputation at County, that I'm an honest person. When I'm on your side, I'm 100%. And if I'm not, it's not personal. It's just a feeling. And, we're all trying to do what's right, and very few people that I've met, the majority are all in it for the right reasons. They're in it to help the community, to help the borough, to help, to help the Democratic Party grow, And in my district, it's the hardest district to represent as a district leader, because I hear from all the other assembly districts, the other district leaders, oh yeah, we got to worry about the primary, and we got to get through that, and then, but our candidates are going to win. We have 21 assembly districts, and 20 assembly members are Democrats. There's one district where there's not a Democratic assembly member. Happens to be my district. As of now, I'm very disappointed that we don't have a Democrat running in the 64th Assembly District against Nicole Malliotakis. I've spoken with the leaders on Staten Island. I've asked them if they have some ideas, because the district is 80% Staten Island, and a Brooklynite cannot win that assembly seat. And unfortunately, Staten Island doesn't really have a huge bench. But I'm in constant contact. We heard from Richard Reichert before. I've known Richard since before I was a district leader. I worked with him when we elected Janelle Heyer Spencer at the time, the first Democrat to represent this district in a long time. And I've kept up those relationships. I have wonderful relationships with the district leaders in the 64th district on Staten Island. And I believe when it comes to electing a Democratic member of the Assembly and a Democratic member of Congress, we have to have those relationships in Staten Island as well as Brooklyn. So I've always appreciated this club's support. I hope to have it again this year. As of now, I have not heard of a candidate running against me. But anything could happen. Petitioning starts in 3 or 4 weeks, about June 7th. A candidate could emerge June 14th. Who knows? I actually look forward to that. I think it's been a testament to the work I've done for the Democratic Party, but also more importantly, the work I've done for the community, as to why the last 2 cycles I've not had a challenger. But I like a challenge, I've actually had other district leaders say, you're crazy. What do you mean you like a challenge? You're on the ballot. And I said, well, it really gives you, what?
You're crazy.
I am crazy. See, there's one of them who says it. But I like to go door to door, and I like to tell people, I'm here, I'm running, you'll see my name on the ballot. If I'm not on the ballot, they'll say, who are you? Well, I don't want to talk to you. At least that gives you the opening position to say, I'm here, I'm your district leader, this is what I've done. A lot of people I've actually remember me, which is, it makes me feel very warm inside. And I like that aspect of going door to door and doing that. So I'm not afraid of that, and if that happens, I'm not gonna be like, oh, too bad I have a race. I'm gonna look at it as an opportunity to talk to my neighbors and hear about the issues that are facing them. One issue, and I'm gonna stop because I know I'm talking a long time, but one issue that was really brought up to me because of neighbors, speaking to neighbors on 71st, 72nd, 73rd Street, between 3rd and 5th Avenue, was the prescription drug epidemic. Back in 2012, when I was doing my petitioning, I heard about this problem. And people would say, I see it in front of my block, in front of my home, I'm seeing this problem. And I didn't know that it was a Bay Ridge problem at that point. And then I spoke with Kathy Katari, who's here, who's become a good friend, and she's a constituent, and we said we have to do something. We brought in Donna Mae DiPaolo, who was one of our honorees last week. We got the community board involved, and we opened up Donna spearheaded opening up a treatment center, a counseling center on 77th Street and 4th Avenue. And in talking to the neighbors, my thing was, when I went back for re-election in 2014, once this was already starting, I went door to door just to let people know that this was happening and it was a good thing. The entire community supported it. Because I was afraid. that people would say, we don't want those people in our neighborhood. It's you know, we have a good neighborhood. We don't want a perception that somehow they're undesirable or something. But as I said to the people going door to door, when I spoke to them, I brought this issue up every single time I talked to them. I said, it's your neighbors, it's your friends that are dealing with this. This is an epidemic that is destroying our community. And I like to think that some small part, we didn't have a not in my backyard attitude because we had those discussions one-on-one with the neighbors to say, this is a good thing for the community. So I look forward to serving as your district leader for 2 more years. So with that, if anyone has any questions for me? No? Do you want me to shut up, Fran? Yes. All right, thank you all so much.